Hello and welcome to the Bot Box, and enjoy the new shelves. Good people of the audience, this week I'm talking about a robot and team who have an important role in the history of robot wars. No, really. Without them, there's a very good chance that this vlog you're watching right now may not even be a thing. Well, if you're wondering why, please park that thought for now, as I introduce wedge-shaped flipper Ripper, a flipper of the rear hinge variety, whose flipper mechanism had a stick-out angle like this, so there's a wedge there and the flipper was, part of the flipper arm was up there. Ripper was not actually its team's first robot, nor was it its first successful qualifier. That was T-Bone, which I'll get to in a later episode. But Ripper, a green-yellow bot with a nice see-through top panel, managed to get into Series 7 on the strength of its flipper, even though it was having technical difficulties during its qualifier. It landed in Heat P at the 7th Wars and drew horizontal spinner Zorro, flipper spinner Raptor on the 2nd, and pincer Agrabot 3. Ripper went sniffing around early on, but its target was Zorro having a rather unpleasant looking spinner. Zorro was flipped early on and unable to self-right. They were out of proceedings and got counted out. Ripper's next target was Agrabot 3, so they flipped Agrabot 3 repeatedly. Agrabot 3, being invertible, was still able to run, but couldn't really attack whilst it was going over and over and over and over. Ripper also got some assistance from Raptor on the 2nd. Better be on the side of the one who's doing the attacking than getting attacked. Sensible idea, Raptor on the 2nd. Agrabot 3 opened the pit as Zorro was put on its wheels, but as it had been counted out, it was already far too late. Zorro tried to wreak revenge on Ripper, which would have worked a lot better if its spinner had been working and if it had not been counted out a long time ago. It would also have worked better if Mr. Psycho hadn't picked Zorro up, not Ripper, picked Zorro up and dropped it in the pit of oblivion. Time ran out on the battle soon afterwards, and the judges recalled it. They ruled in favour of Ripper and Raptor on the 2nd. Next up was a full-body spinner named Daisy Cutter. Ripper went over to Daisy Cutter and flipped the spinner over before leaving it alone, as Daisy Cutter also couldn't self-right. So Daisy Cutter was counted out pretty quickly. Ripper then chose to go after Shunt, and it got attacked by Kilowatt for its troubles. Shunt opened the pit. Meanwhile, Ripper flipped at the Refbot. What did the Ref do? Only to get axed by Shunt. Shunt got flipped for that, and Ripper tripped over the floor flipper and flew air floor flipper, landing on its rear end. Still, even though Skill pitted Ripper, Ripper still made the heat final. However, next for them was a flipper of the front hinge persuasion in the form of second seeds, Firestorm 5. Firestorm 5 went after Ripper early on and managed to land Ripper on its rear end, from where Ripper couldn't actually self-right. Firestorm 5 rescued them and pushed Ripper around a bit. Ripper got free and tried to flip Firestorm, but failed. The second seed did not miss and managed to get Ripper stuck on an Arena sidewall. So Ripper got counted out, though the Refbot counted out a bit funky. Went 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 10. maybe Ripper's flips did something to the Refbot. Anyway, Firestorm 5 flipped Ripper out of the arena, which was a good thing for Ripper because that saved them from the wrath of the angry house robots that they cheesed off whilst fighting Daisy Cutter. Still, we are not done with Ripper just yet. Oh no. It's time for Series 7 Annihilator. Hands up if you like chaos. And hand her down again because I cannot see you through this video. So, for Ripper, they faced flippers in Raging Nightmare, U2, two flipper spinner combinations in Robo Chicken and Flipper, and Grabber and reigning Annihilator champions, Can Opener. Ripper, in the first battle, flipped Robo Chicken over at once and left them before flipping it. Can Opener over. U2 was next, landing on the arena wall and also Flipper. Raging Nightmare and Can Opener again followed before Dead Metal rocked up and decided to give Ripper a hug. You don't want to get hugged by Dead Metal, not with those massive pincers and the saw, it's just not for anyone. Ripper managed to escape getting hooked by Dead Metal before trading blows with Raging Nightmare. Can Opener opened the pit as Robo Chicken was counted out. U2 got pitted, but it didn't matter because Robo Chicken was out. The next round, well, it didn't get off to a good start because Flipper didn't even make it into the arena. Technical difficulties backstage meant they could not repair their robot in time, so it didn't even make the ring. So that put them down to 4 robots. In this round, Ripper made a target of Raging Nightmare, flipping them multiple times. That took both close to shunt, but fortunately no harm was done. Can Opener rocked up and pincered Raging Nightmare, so Ripper flipped U2 before taking on Raging Nightmare once more. In fact, Flipper took on both U2 and Raging Nightmare, flipping both of them. U2 failed to self-right. Raging Nightmare did manage to self-right. Meanwhile, Can Opener opened the pit and tried to pick Raging Nightmare, but Raging Nightmare was stuck on one of Can Opener's claws, and U2 was counted out before Raging Nightmare could have possibly got free. So U2 went out. In the penultimate round, Ripper's target was Raging Nightmare. Can Opener was also seemingly targeting Raging Nightmare. Ripper flipped Raging Nightmare a lot. Raging Nightmare did get a flip in on Can Opener, though, and Can Opener happened to be invertible. However, Ripper flipped Raging Nightmare before Can Opener grabbed and cooked Raging Nightmare. And between the two of them, that's what they did. Ripper flipped Raging Nightmare, and Can Opener grabbed and sometimes cooked Raging Nightmare. It was not happy fun times for Raging Nightmare. In fact, could probably be classed as a Raging Nightmare. Throw a spinner in there and it could get worse. Ripper eventually opened the pit. Can Opener then pitted Raging Nightmare, though Raging Nightmare was stuck to Can Opener's claws, so Ripper very kindly rammed into Raging Nightmare just to get Raging Nightmare off Can Opener's claws. So that meant Ripper was now in the Annihilator final with a chance to win the Annihilator championship and possibly a nice shiny trophy. Ripper flipped Can Opener twice early on, but Can Opener was actually trying to look for an angle of attack. The wedge shape of but Ripper was not making things easy. However, Ripper was suddenly not having an easy time moving. It had lost drive on one side, the right hand side. So that meant Ripper was now vulnerable. Can Opener grabbed Ripper and dragged them around to open the pit, and Ripper ended up with Mr. Psycho, which, yeah, getting stuck with a hammer-wielding house robot. It's not happy fun times for anyone. But Ripper refused to go down without a fight. It still kept managing to get a few flips in on Can Opener, even though its mobility was severely compromised. However, Can Opener was also not letting go. It grabbed Ripper quite a bit, and ultimately Ripper got counted out, even though towards the end Can Opener was leaking out the magic smoke of doom. But it left Can Opener the Annihilator champions for the second time. A thumbs up for Can Opener, and a thumbs up for Ripper for coming second. So for Ripper, it was time for the live circuit, and I thought I mentioned about how important Ripper's team were, Team Roaming Robots. This is where I come back to it. See, they have been heavily involved in the live circuit. Reed being heavily involved in running the live circuit, and that helped keep Robot Combat going whilst Robot Wars was off air and continues to this day. Without the live circuit, who even knows if there'd have been a reboot in the first place? And with the reboot, part of the inspiration for this vlog was after watching Series 9 and watching all the fights and all the stuff relating to it. And without that, who knows even if I'd be talking about Robot Wars here. However, because of the involvement in the live circuit, Ripper was effectively ineligible for Robot Wars. It hasn't stopped them from trying to get into other competitions. They've been trying to get into BattleBots, though things have conspired against them with getting in. Ripper could have just as easily been a semi-finalist or even an Annihilator champion, but it just didn't happen. It was aggressive. Attacking house robots may well have cost them in the long run in Series 7, but come on, it's always good to see an attack on the house robots. Who doesn't like it when the house robots get flipped over? Or maybe the people driving the house robots, but they're fair game. I do hope that Team Roaming Robots do eventually get to be on BattleBots someday. Anyway, who's next? It's a very good question. This one. I think I've got the name upside down. Yes. Triterabot. Well, that's an interesting one. We'll see how interesting it is next week. Until then, Callison244 out.